My name is Nicole. I am 30 years old. Since I was a child, I liked fashion and beauty. I liked trying new creams, perfumes, and makeup. I liked when people said I looked nice. When I finished school, I worked in a store that sold clothes and perfume. I was a sales clerk. My job was simple, but I liked talking to people. I liked helping women choose what made them feel beautiful. Still, I wanted more from life. I wanted to have my own business. After a few years, I started to think about how many people buy things online. I saw that people used social media to sell products. I watched many videos where women showed how to use makeup and creams. I thought, maybe I can do that too. I decided to try. I took some money from my savings. I bought some products and made a small page online. I named it Shine by Nicole. At first it was small. Only my friends followed me. I posted pictures of perfumes and makeup. I wrote small messages about feeling good and taking care of yourself. After a few months, my page started to grow. More people followed me. They asked questions about the products. Some bought them. I packed the orders at night and sent them in the morning. I was happy. I worked hard, but it was my dream. Every time someone sent me a message saying, "Thank you, I love this cream," I smiled. My page was growing fast, and soon I made more money than at the store. One day, I decided to leave my job and work for myself full-time. It was a big decision, but I felt ready. When I started to work full-time, I used more social media. I made accounts on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I also used Pinterest because I loved pictures. I shared photos of new products every day. I showed how to use them. I also talked about food, fitness, and health. I wanted women to feel good, not only to look good. My followers liked that. They started to call me inspiration. Some of them even sent me letters and small gifts. I felt loved. I thought, maybe I am doing something important. I began to post more photos of myself too. I took pictures in nice clothes with makeup and perfume. People liked those posts more than anything else. I got hundreds of likes and many comments. I felt proud, but also a bit scared. I started to spend more time taking pictures than talking to real people. I woke up early to take good photos in the light. I checked my phone every few minutes. If a post got fewer likes, I felt sad. I told myself it did not matter, but it did. I began to care too much about my online life. My business was doing very well. I had many new customers. I started to work with other small brands. I even met a few people who wanted to be my business partners. They said I could make more money if I worked harder and posted more. I agreed. I wanted to grow my brand, so I started to post 3 times a day. I also began to use filters on my photos. I made my skin look smoother and my hair shinier. I did not think it was wrong because everyone did it. One evening, I was with my best friend Clara. She said, "Nicole, you are always on your phone. You don't talk to me anymore." I laughed and said, "I am just working. You know, it's my business." She smiled but looked a bit sad. "I miss how we used to talk," she said. I felt bad for a moment, but I told myself it was normal. I was busy and she should understand. Still, her words stayed in my mind for a while. My family was happy for me. My mother said, You did it, Nicole. You built your own business. I smiled, but my father looked worried. Don't forget to rest, he said. I told him not to worry. I said I was fine. But deep down, I knew I was tired. I worked every day from morning to night. I checked messages, replied to comments, packed boxes, and made new posts. I did not sleep much. My eyes hurt from looking at the screen too long. But when I saw new followers, I felt excited again. One night, I looked at my old pictures on the phone. In those pictures, I was in the store where I worked before. I was smiling with my coworkers. I looked happy, even without perfect makeup. I thought about those times. My life was simple, but I felt calm. Now, I had more money and more people who followed me, but I felt something different. I could not understand it clearly. I had everything I wanted, yet I felt a small space inside me that nothing could fill. I shook my head and said to myself, "You're just tired. You need rest." So, I planned a short trip to the beach. I thought it would help me relax. I took many pictures there too. The sea was beautiful, and I wanted to share it with my followers. But when I looked at the pictures, I did not like them. I thought my face looked tired. I took more photos. I smiled wider, changed my hair, and put on lipstick again. I spent the whole day trying to get one perfect picture. At night, I realized I did not even swim or walk on the beach. I was only looking at my phone. I felt silly. I wanted to rest, but I was working again. When I came back home, I opened my social media and saw hundreds of likes on my beach photo. People wrote, "You look amazing," and "I wish I was you." I smiled at first, but then I thought, they don't know that I was tired and sad that day. I closed my phone and sat quietly for a while. I began to think about my life before I started this online world. I missed talking to real people. I missed laughing with my friends. I missed not thinking about how I looked every minute. Still, I didn't stop. I told myself I could handle it. I made new goals. I wanted to reach 100,000 followers by the end of the year. I worked even harder. I posted about beauty and health every day. I told women to feel good and love themselves. But sometimes, when I looked at my own face in the mirror, I did not feel that way. I did not feel beautiful or strong. I was tired, and I didn't know why. One night, I received a message from a young girl named Sophie. She wrote, "Nicole, you make me feel brave. I want to be like you." I smiled, but my heart felt heavy. I wanted to tell her that I was not as perfect as she thought. I wanted to say that my life was not always easy, but I didn't. I just replied, "Thank you, Sophie. Believe in yourself." Then I put my phone down and sat on my bed. For the first time, I asked myself, who am I when I am not online? Before I continue rest of the story, please like, subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. After that night, I thought about Sophie's message many times. It was a simple message, but it made me think about my life. I said to myself, people see my posts every day. They think I am always happy, but they don't really know me. I looked at my phone again and saw many comments. Some people said nice things, but a few people wrote bad ones. They said my skin looked fake or my smile looked forced. I knew I should not care, but I did. I read those comments again and again. They made me feel small. The next morning, I woke up early and looked at my face in the mirror. My eyes looked tired. My hair was messy. I did not feel beautiful. I took my phone and started to take pictures. I used makeup and filters. I smiled again and again until I liked one picture. Then I posted it online. A few minutes later, people started to like it. They wrote, "You are perfect," and "You are goals." My sadness slowly faded, but only for a short time. Soon, I wanted to post again. I started to spend more time on my phone. I checked my page every hour. I watched the number of likes go up. If the number was low, I felt nervous. If the number was high, I felt better. My life was now on the screen. I posted pictures of food, flowers, and new products. I smiled in every photo. I said nice words in every post. But behind the camera, I was tired. Sometimes I forgot to eat because I was too busy answering messages. Sometimes I fell asleep with my phone in my hand. One day, I was in a meeting with 2 new business partners. They were from another city. They liked my brand and wanted to work with me. We met in a small cafe. They were friendly and kind. They said, "Nicole, your page is amazing. You look perfect in every photo." I smiled and thanked them. They said, "We want to grow your brand together, but we think you should show more of yourself. Post more personal photos, share your home, your family, your daily life." I said I would think about it, but inside, I felt unsure. I liked sharing my business, but not my private life. Still, I wanted to grow, so I agreed. I started to post more about my life. I showed my home, my morning coffee, my small garden. I also shared pictures with my parents and my friend Clara. People liked them even more. They said, "We love to see your life." My followers grew fast again. I had more messages and more orders. I should have been happy, but I felt something strange. My life did not feel like my own anymore. Every simple thing became content for my page. When I cooked dinner, I took photos. When I went for a walk, I filmed a short video. Everything I did was for my followers. One evening, I wanted to go out with Clara. She invited me to a movie. I said yes, but when I was getting ready, I stopped to take a photo of my dress. Then I took another one. I wanted it to look perfect. I changed my earrings and took more photos. By the time I finished, I was late. I ran to the cinema, but the movie had already started. Clara looked at me and said, "Nicole, you missed half of it." I smiled and said, "Sorry, I was busy." She did not say anything, but I saw the sadness in her eyes. That night, when I got home, I sat on the bed. My phone was full of messages and likes on the photo I had posted. People said, "You look amazing." But I did not feel amazing. I felt empty. I thought about Clara's face. She was my best friend, and now I hardly saw her. I missed talking to her. I missed the days when we could sit and laugh without taking pictures. A few days later, I went to visit my parents. My mother cooked my favorite food. She looked happy to see me. My father said, "We don't see you much these days." I said, "I'm sorry. I'm working hard." My mother smiled and said, "Work is good, but don't forget to live." I laughed and said, "Of course not, Mom." But when I looked at my phone later, I realized she was right. My life was full of pictures, but I was not really living it. One afternoon, I had a big online event. I had to show new products live. Many people were watching. I was nervous. I smiled, talked, and showed each item. Everything looked good on camera. When the event ended, I checked the comments. Most people were happy, but one person wrote, "You look fake now. You used to be real." That comment stayed in my mind. I told myself not to care, but I kept thinking about it. I looked at my old videos and saw how simple they were. I looked natural and happy. Now, everything looked perfect, but not real. That night, I could not sleep. I lay in bed and thought about my life. I asked myself, when did I stop being me? I remembered the first days of my small business. I was excited and full of hope. I wanted to help women feel confident. Now, I only wanted to look perfect. I did not even know what confidence meant anymore. The next day, I went out without makeup for the first time in months. I wore simple clothes and no perfume. I just wanted to walk and feel the air. Some people looked at me, but I did not care. I felt calm. When I got home, I looked at my phone. I wanted to post a picture, but I stopped. I did not take any photos that day. I smiled to myself. It felt good to enjoy a moment without showing it to anyone. Still, it was hard to change. Every day, I fought the need to check my phone. I told myself to take breaks, but my hand always reached for it. I tried to spend time with my family. I went to help my mother in the garden. She told me stories and we laughed. I did not post about it. I wanted it to be just for us. Weeks passed, and I started to feel better. I still worked online, but I posted less. I began to talk about simple beauty, not perfect beauty. I told my followers to care for their health and rest. I shared pictures of flowers, books, and home meals. Some people left my page because they wanted perfect photos, but new people came who liked my simple style. I was not as popular as before, but I was more at peace. One evening, I got a message from Sophie again. She wrote, "Nicole, I like your new posts. You look happy." I smiled and replied, "Thank you. I am." For the first time, I really meant those words. After that message from Sophie, I sat on my bed and thought about everything that had happened. My life was so different now. My business was still running, but I worked slower. I was not chasing likes or followers anymore. I wanted my work to mean something real. I wanted to feel proud again, not only look good on a screen. I started each morning with calm music. I drank tea and watched the sun. I stopped taking photos of my breakfast. I did not check my phone right after waking up. I waited until I finished my morning walk. At first it was hard, but each day it became easier. I started to enjoy small things again. I listened to the birds, I looked at the trees, I felt peaceful. When I posted online now, I shared simple things. I talked about life, about feeling good inside. I told my followers that beauty was not only about skin or hair, it was also about kindness and peace. Many people wrote to me, saying my words helped them. Some women said they stopped using filters. Others said they started walking more or spending time with their families. I felt happy. I thought, maybe this is what I wanted from the start. My business changed too. I started a new part on my page called Natural Nicole. I showed real photos, no filters. I shared how to take care of your skin with easy and healthy ways. I talked about drinking water, sleeping enough, and smiling more. I said, you don't need to be perfect to be beautiful. At first, I was scared people would not like it, but many did. They said they felt free when they saw my posts. I felt free too. One weekend, Clara called me. She said, do you want to go for a walk near the lake? I said yes at once. I wore simple clothes and went to meet her. The sky was blue and the air was soft. We walked and talked for hours. We laughed like before. I did not take a single photo. I just wanted to enjoy our time. When the sun started to go down, Clara said, it feels good to have you back, Nicole. I smiled. It feels good to be back, I said. That evening when I came home, I looked at my phone. There were many messages, but I did not feel the need to answer right away. I put the phone down and made tea. I thought about the last few years. I had changed my whole life for likes and comments. I had forgotten my real self, but now I was learning to live again. One day, I received an email from a small group of young women who studied business. They said they followed me for a long time. They asked if I could visit their school and talk about my work. I said yes. A week later, I went to meet them. They were all smiling and excited. I told them my story, how I started, how I grew, and how I lost myself for a while. I said, success is not only about money or followers. Success is also about peace, balance, and honesty. They listened quietly. Some wrote notes. After the talk, one girl said, you helped me see that it's okay to be real. Her words made me happy. After that, I started doing small talks for women in my city. I spoke about building dreams, working hard, and taking care of your heart. I said that beauty is not only what others see. It is also how we feel when no one is watching. Every time I finished talking, I saw smiles and sometimes tears. I knew I was doing something right. My parents were proud of me. My mother said, you look different now. You look peaceful. My father said, I always knew you would find your way. I thanked them both. I finally felt proud, not just for my success, but for being honest with myself. A few months later, I was sitting by the window with a cup of tea. I watched the rain fall. My phone was on the table, but I didn't touch it. I thought about the past, the long nights, the endless pictures, the fake smiles. I did not hate those times because they helped me learn. But I was happy they were behind me. I smiled softly and whispered, I'm fine now. I still use social media for my work. I still post about beauty and products. But I post real things. I show my natural face. I talk about good days and bad days. Some people leave, but new people come. They stay because they see truth, not perfection. I do not need thousands of likes anymore. I need peace, kindness, and meaning. Sometimes I get messages from girls like Sophie. They say, "Nicole, your story helps me." I always reply, "Thank you. You can do it too. Just be yourself." Those messages remind me why I started my journey in the first place. My life is quiet now, but full. I have my family, my friends, and my work. I still love beauty, but I know now that real beauty starts inside. It is not from a bottle or a filter. It is from a calm heart and a kind smile. One evening, Clara came over for dinner. We cooked together and talked. She looked at me and said, "You really changed, Nicole." I smiled and said, "Yes, but I think this is who I was always meant to be." We laughed, and it felt easy again. That night, after she left, I sat on my bed and opened my phone. I looked at my latest post, a simple photo of my desk with a small flower. It had fewer likes than before, but I didn't mind. One comment said, "Your page makes me feel calm." I smiled. That one comment was enough. I turned off the light and closed my eyes. My mind was quiet. For the first time in a long time, I felt no rush, no fear, and no need to be seen. I felt peace. That was the real beauty I had been looking for all along. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to English Medium Stories. Stay with us for more classic stories in easy English. My name is Kate. I am 31 years old. I live alone in a small flat in a quiet town. I work at a local library. I like books and silence. I used to feel happy about my life, but lately I have not felt good about myself. In the last few months, I gained a lot of weight. It started slowly. I ate more at night, and I did not walk much. I told myself it was fine. But one morning, I looked at the mirror and could not believe my face. My cheeks looked round, and my clothes felt tight. I went to the bathroom and stood on the scale. The number made me stop and stare. It showed 205 pounds. I felt shocked. I had never seen such a big number before. I looked down again, hoping it was wrong, but it was not. I turned off the light and sat on the edge of my bed. I felt sad and heavy, not only in my body but also in my heart. I thought about how slim my family was. My mother was always careful about food. My father went for a walk every evening. My younger sister ran in the mornings. And me? I worked long hours and came home tired. I often ordered pizza or fried chicken and told myself I deserved it after work. Christmas was coming soon. Every year my family came to visit me. It was our tradition. We cooked, talked, and spent time together. But this year, I was not excited. I imagined their faces when they saw me. They would notice my body first. They would say kind words, but their eyes would tell the truth. I felt afraid. A week before Christmas, my mother called me. Her voice was calm, but I could hear worry. She said, "Kate, we are all coming this year. Are you feeling well?" I smiled even though she could not see me. "I'm fine, Mom. Don't worry. I said. But she did not stop. You must take care of yourself. I hope you are eating better now. I promised her I was on a new diet. I said it came from a good friend. I told her it was working. It was not true, but I wanted her to stop asking. That evening, I tried to eat only salad for dinner. I told myself this was the start of my new plan. But after 2 hours, I felt hungry again. I opened the fridge and took out ice cream. I told myself it was only a small bowl. After I finished it, I still wanted more. I looked at the empty bowl and felt ashamed. I went to bed without turning off the lights. The next morning, I woke up and tried again. I boiled eggs, made green tea, and looked at the scale. It showed the same number. I sighed and told myself I just needed time. I believed if I stayed strong, I could lose weight before Christmas. I watched cooking videos on the internet about healthy food. I bought new vegetables and olive oil. For 3 days, I followed the plan. Then on the 4th day, my coworker Ben brought chocolate cake to work. It was his birthday. He said, "Come on, Kate. 1 piece will not hurt." I smiled and said no at first. But later, I ate 1 small slice. Then another. At home, I felt guilty. I looked at myself in the mirror again. I did not like what I saw. My face looked tired. My eyes looked sad. I whispered to myself, "You need to do better." But deep down, I felt weak. I missed my old body, but I did not have the same energy anymore. One evening, my sister Amy called me. She said she had bought me a Christmas gift, a new dress. "You will love it," she said. "It's red and pretty. I know it will fit you." I said thank you, but I felt nervous. I knew it would not fit. When I hung up, I cried quietly. A few days later, I went for a walk. It was cold outside, but I needed air. I saw my reflection in a shop window. I did not recognize myself. My winter coat was too tight, and the buttons looked like they might break. I walked faster, but I could feel people looking at me. I imagined what they were thinking. She should eat less. She must be lazy. I hated those thoughts, but they stayed in my head. When I came home, I looked at my phone. My mother had sent me a message. She asked if I was keeping my diet. I typed back quickly, "Yes, I am doing very well." It was another lie. I wished I could tell her the truth, that I was tired of trying, tired of failing, tired of feeling like I had to look perfect for everyone else. Days passed, and Christmas came closer. My fridge was full of vegetables and fruits, but my heart was full of fear. I stood on the scale every morning. Sometimes I lost 1 pound, but the next day it came back. I started to hate that small silver scale. I thought of hiding it, but I could not. I checked my weight every day like it was part of my life. Finally, the day came. My family arrived in the afternoon. My mother hugged me first. Her arms felt warm, but I could feel her eyes moving over me. My father gave me a kiss on the cheek. My sister smiled, but it looked forced. We sat in the living room and drank tea. I tried to act happy. My mother asked about my diet. I said, "Yes, it's working slowly." She said, "We can't see much change." My heart sank. My father added softly, You need to be more serious about it, Kate. I looked at him, trying not to cry. I wanted to say that I was trying, that losing weight was hard, but I stayed quiet. Later that evening, we had dinner together. Everyone ate small portions. My mother had made roasted vegetables, and my sister brought soup. I tried to eat slowly, but I wanted to eat more. When my mother saw me reach for a second slice of bread, she frowned. Kate, you said you are on a diet. Her voice was sharp. I felt heat rise in my face. I put the bread down and whispered, I'm fine, Mom. The room became quiet. My sister looked down at her plate. My father cleared his throat. My mother sighed. I wanted to leave the table, but I stayed because I did not want to ruin Christmas. After dinner, my mother came to my room. She sat beside me on the bed. Her voice was softer now. We are worried about you, she said. You were always such a confident girl. What happened? I said nothing. I just looked at my hands. She touched my arm gently. Please, take care of yourself. We love you. Then she stood up and left. When they all went to sleep, I sat by the window. The lights outside were bright. Snow fell slowly. I felt alone. I opened my phone and looked at old photos of myself. I looked so different, lighter, happier. I whispered, I will change again. I promise. But deep inside, I was not sure if I could. That night I could not sleep. I thought about what my family said. Their words hurt, but I knew they came from love. Still, I wished they could see how hard I was trying. I wished they could see more than just my body. When Christmas ended and they went home, I stood on the scale again. It showed 1 pound more than before. I laughed quietly, not because it was funny, but because I did not know what else to do. I looked at my reflection and said, maybe I can still make them proud one day. But I also knew something else. I did not want to be judged anymore. Before I continue rest of the story, please like, subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. The week after Christmas felt quiet. My family went home, and my flat felt empty again. I looked around the living room and saw the gift box my sister had left. It was the red dress she had talked about. I opened the box and held it up. It was beautiful, but I knew it would not fit me. Still, I went to the mirror and tried it on. The zipper stopped halfway. I stood there for a moment looking at myself. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. I took the dress off and put it back in the box. The next morning, I told myself I would change. I wanted to be healthy and strong again. I started walking in the park every day. The air was cold, and my legs hurt at first, but I kept going. Sometimes people passed by me running fast. I walked slowly, but I told myself it was still better than nothing. After a week, I began to feel a little better. I made porridge for breakfast and cooked soup for dinner. I tried to stop thinking about food all the time, but in the evenings when I sat alone, I often opened the fridge again. I told myself I would only eat a small snack, but soon the plate was full. Afterward, I felt guilty. I promised myself that tomorrow would be different. One Saturday, I saw an old friend at the grocery store. Her name was Clara. We had not met for years. She looked surprised when she saw me. She smiled, but her eyes moved over my body quickly. "Kate, it's been so long," she said. "How are you?" "I'm fine," I said, trying to sound normal. "You look different," she said, pausing. "Are you okay?" Her words cut deep. I wanted to disappear. I smiled and said, "I'm on a diet. It's going well." She nodded and changed the topic, but I could feel her eyes on me the whole time. When I got home, I sat on the couch and cried for the first time in weeks. The next day, I told myself I had to prove everyone wrong. I searched online for quick diet ideas. I found one that said, "Lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks." It sounded too good to be true, but I tried it. For the next few days, I only ate fruit and soup. I drank water all the time. My head hurt and I felt weak, but when I looked at the scale, I saw I had lost 3 pounds. I felt proud. However, the happiness did not last. After a few days, I started feeling dizzy. I could not focus at work. My coworker Ben asked, "Are you all right, Kate? You look pale." I said I was fine, but I was not. When I got home, I felt so hungry that I ate everything I could find: bread, butter, and cookies. I stood in front of the fridge and cried again. I felt like I had lost control. That night, I looked at the scale. It showed 2 pounds more than before. I wanted to throw it away, but I couldn't. I sat on the bathroom floor, feeling small and weak. I whispered to myself, "Why can't I be like other people? Why can't I stop eating?" The next morning, I did not want to go to work. I stayed in bed for a long time, staring at the ceiling. Then my phone rang. It was my mother. "Hi, sweetheart," she said softly. "How are you?" I said I was fine, but she could hear something in my voice. "You don't sound fine," she said. I told her I was just tired. "You should rest," she said. "But don't forget, we love you." Her words warmed my heart a little. That evening, I looked at myself in the mirror again. I wanted to see something good. My hair looked messy, my eyes were red, but I smiled anyway. I told myself, "You are still you. You can still change." A few weeks later, I started a new plan. I stopped reading crazy diets online. I decided to eat slowly and walk every day, even if I was tired. I did not look at the scale as often. I wanted to focus on how I felt, not what the number said. In the park, I saw a man who often walked there too. He was older, maybe in his 40s. One day, as we passed each other, he smiled. I smiled back. The next day, he said hello. His name was Peter. He walked every morning before work. We started talking. He told me about his job at a music shop. He liked old songs and played guitar. I told him I worked at the library. Every morning, I looked forward to seeing him. Our talks were simple, but they made me feel lighter. He never mentioned my body or my weight. He just asked about my day, my books, my favorite music. It felt nice. For the first time in months, I laughed again. One morning as we walked, Peter said, "You look happy today." I smiled. "Maybe I am," I said. He said, That's good. You should be. Those words stayed with me the whole day. At night, I stood in front of the mirror again. I looked the same, but I felt different. My face still looked round, but my eyes seemed a little brighter. I thought about how people had judged me, how my family had worried, how I had lied to make them stop talking. But now I wanted something else. I wanted peace. Days turned into weeks. I kept walking with Peter. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we just walked quietly. I liked that he never made me feel small. One morning he said, "My sister used to worry a lot about her body. Then she started painting. It helped her." I listened. I liked the idea of doing something creative. That night I found some old paint in my closet. I painted simple things, flowers, windows, the view from my flat. I was not good at it, but it made me calm. For the first time in months, I forgot about food, scales, and numbers. After a month, I felt lighter. My clothes fit a little better. I looked at the scale again. It showed 190 pounds. I smiled. It was not a big change, but it was something. I took a picture of my feet on the scale. I wanted to send it to my mother, but I stopped. I thought, if I send this, they will think I care only about the number. I wanted them to see the real change in me, not just my body. That weekend, my mother called again. She said, "You sound happier, Kate." I said, "Maybe because I am not fighting myself anymore." She laughed softly. "That's good. We all love you, you know." I said, "I know, Mom." After the call, I sat by the window. The evening light was soft. I thought about Christmas, about the red dress, about the pain I had felt. I told myself, I will not live for other people's eyes anymore. I will live for mine. But deep inside, another thought grew. I wanted my family to see me as strong again. I wanted to show them proof that I had changed. The truth was, I had lost some weight, but not as much as they would expect. I started thinking of ways to make the next photo look better. Maybe I could change something on the scale. Maybe they would be proud of me then. That small idea stayed in my head. I did not want to lie, but I also wanted peace. I wanted them to stop worrying. I told myself it was not really a lie. It was only a small thing. It was February when my sister called again. She said, "We were talking about you last night. Mom thinks your new diet must be working." I smiled into the phone. "Yes, I feel much better now," I said. That was true in some way, but not the full truth. My body had changed a little, but not as much as I wanted. I was afraid my family would be disappointed again. That night, I looked at myself in the mirror. I wore the red dress my sister gave me. The zipper still did not go all the way up, but I managed to close it halfway. I turned to the side and looked again. I wanted to see something new, something that showed I had improved. I sighed. "Maybe I need more time," I whispered. The next morning, I stood on the scale. The number said 188. It was not bad, but I wanted to show more. I wanted to surprise my family. I wanted them to say, "Wow, you did it." I wanted to feel proud for once. Then an idea came to my mind. I looked at the small scale on the floor. It had a little silver button at the back. I knew it could be adjusted. I had once turned it before when it was not working. I looked at it now and thought, what if I move it back just a little? My hands shook. I stood there for a long time thinking. Then I bent down and turned the small wheel a little backward. When I stood up again, I stepped on the scale. The numbers showed 120 pounds. I froze. I looked at it again to be sure. It looked real. I laughed quietly, not because it was funny, but because it looked so easy. The truth was, nothing about this was easy, but I wanted peace. I took my phone and snapped a photo. The picture showed my feet and the number clearly. I looked at it for a long time. It looked perfect. I thought, this is what they want to see. That evening, I sent the photo to my family group chat. I wrote, "My hard work finally worked. I feel great now." A few minutes later, my mother replied with a long message full of hearts and happy words. My father said he was proud of me. My sister wrote, "You look amazing, Kate. I knew you could do it." I smiled at my phone, but my chest felt tight. I looked around my flat. It was quiet and dark. I thought about the lie I had just told. I wanted to delete the photo, but it was too late. Everyone had already seen it. I sat down and looked at the wall. I told myself, it's just one small lie. It hurts no one. But I knew that was not true. The next day, I met Peter in the park again. He smiled as always. "You look thoughtful today," he said. I smiled weakly. I just have a lot on my mind. He looked at me for a moment and said, "You know, sometimes people try too hard to be what others expect. But the real change is when you feel peace inside." His words hit something in me. I wanted to tell him everything, that I had lied, that I felt ashamed, that I was tired of pretending. But I just nodded. "You're right," I said softly. When I went home, I opened my phone again. My family had sent more messages. My mother said, "We are so proud, dear. You look beautiful." My father wrote, "We knew you could do anything once you decided." My sister said, "I can't wait to see you in that red dress." I put the phone down. I walked to the mirror again and stared at my reflection. My face looked pale. My hands felt cold. I whispered, "You wanted them to be proud, and now they are." But I didn't feel proud. I felt small. The next few days, I tried to forget about the photo, but every time I got a message from my family, I felt that same heavy feeling again. I started walking less. I stopped painting. Even Peter noticed. "You're quiet these days," he said one morning. "Is something wrong?" I smiled weakly. "No, just tired." He did not push me to explain. A week later, my mother called again. She said she wanted to visit me soon. My heart jumped. "Oh, maybe not yet, Mom," I said quickly. "I'm very busy at work." She said, "All right, maybe next month." I said yes, but my hands were shaking. I could not let them come. They would see the truth. That night, I sat on my bed thinking. I looked at the picture again, the fake number, my feet, the clean floor. It all looked perfect, but it was a lie. I opened my gallery and almost deleted it. But again, I stopped. If I delete it, they will know, I thought. I put the phone away and turned off the light. The next morning, I woke up feeling strange. I looked around and saw the red dress still hanging on the door. I stood up, touched the soft fabric, and smiled sadly. Then I put it on again. It was still tight, but I didn't care. I looked in the mirror. For the first time, I did not look at my size. I looked at my eyes. They looked tired but kind. Later that day, I walked to the park. Peter was there. He looked at me and said, "You look better today." I smiled. Maybe because I stopped trying to be someone else. He nodded slowly. "That's the best kind of change," he said. We sat on a bench together. The air was cool, and the trees moved gently. I felt calm for the first time in a long while. I told Peter, I did something wrong. I lied to my family. He looked at me quietly, waiting. I said, I sent them a fake picture. I changed the scale. They think I lost weight. My voice shook. He was silent for a moment. Then he said softly, "You wanted them to be proud, right?" I nodded. "Then you are not bad. You just wanted love." I looked at him and said, "But it was still wrong." He smiled. "Then fix it. Tell them the truth. People who love you will understand." That night, I sat on my bed with my phone in my hand. My heart was beating fast. I opened the chat with my family. I typed, "I need to tell you something." I looked at the words for a long time. Then I added, "The photo I sent was not true." I turned the scale. "I'm sorry. I just wanted you to be proud of me." I pressed send. My hands were shaking. I put the phone away and waited. Minutes passed. Then my mother replied first. "Oh, Kate, you don't need to lie for us. We love you no matter what." My father wrote, "We only want you to be healthy and happy, not perfect." My sister said, "You're brave for telling the truth. That's what really matters." I felt tears in my eyes, but this time they were not from shame. They were from relief. I looked out the window. The night sky was calm and wide. I took a deep breath and smiled. The next morning, I went back to the park. Peter was waiting near the old bench. I told him, "I told them the truth." He smiled. "How do you feel?" I said, "Lighter. Maybe not in my body yet, but in my heart." He laughed softly. "That's the real kind of weight people should lose," he said. I smiled back. For the first time, I truly felt proud of myself. Not because of a number, not because of how I looked, but because I had stopped hiding. From that day, I stopped checking the scale. I started painting again. I cooked simple food, not to look better, but to feel good. I walked every morning with Peter. Sometimes I still thought about the photo, the lie, the shame. But now I also thought about something else. The truth that love does not need to be earned by numbers or shape. It is already there, waiting, if we can just be honest. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to English Medium Stories. Stay with us for more classic stories in easy English.